I was honored. He and Oscar Hammerstein met me in Waldorf and twisted my arm quite vigorously. I chose instead, it turned out, to continue in the world of journalism. I didn't communicate my hope to my audience. Now, however, my circumstances are considerably different. I'm in a position to speak my mind, and by God, I'm going to do it. You know, those of us who are living today can truly influence the future of civilization. We can influence whether our planet is going to live or die, whether it's going to drift into chaos and violence, or whether through a monumental educational and political effort, we will achieve a world of peace under a system of law where individual violators of that law are brought to justice. First, we Americans are going to have to yield up some of our sovereignty. That's going to be, to many, a bitter pill. It would take a lot of courage, a lot of faith, a lot of persuasion to them to come along with us on this necessity. Approximately 200 sovereignties in our global village, all of which are going to have to be convinced to give up some of that sovereignty to the better, greater union. Most important, we should sign and ratify the Treaty for a Permanent International Criminal Court. That is now at the core of the World Federalist Movement's drive. That court will enable the world to hold individuals accountable for their crimes against humanity. Their leader, Pat Robertson, has written in a book a few years ago that we should have a world government, but only when the Messiah arrives. He wrote, and literally, any attempt to achieve world order before that time must be the work of the devil. Well, join me. I'm glad to sit here at the right hand of Satan. I'm glad to sit here at the right hand of Satan. Let us hear the peal of a new international liberty bell that calls us all to the creation of a system of enforceable world law in which the universal desire for peace can place its hope and its prayers. Thank you.
We would like to bring you a message from the First Lady of the United States, Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Good evening and congratulations, Walter, on receiving the World Federalist Association's Global Governance Award. For more than a generation in America, it wasn't the news until Walter Cronkite told us it was the news. Every night at 6 o'clock, we welcomed you into our living rooms and listened as you explained the complex events of the day. Whether it was the space race or the Vietnam War, presidential elections, or peace treaties, you were there, telling us in simple yet riveting prose what was happening. You became a trusted member of my family and of families across America. For decades you told us the way it is. But tonight we honor you for fighting for the way it could be. We honor you for lending your voice to the cause of human rights around the world and for your lifelong commitment to international human rights law. From your reporting on the Nuremberg trials to your work with the WFA campaign to end genocide, you have stirred our consciences and challenged all of us to live closer to the words of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. So thank you, Walter. Thank you for inspiring all of us to build a more peaceful and just world. We are still listening to your every word. And with your continuing leadership, we can sail across these unnavigated seas into the 21st century. And there's no better captain I can imagine than you. Thank you.
you and I grew up in is gone. And maybe it's gone forever if we don't wake up now. McCain said last night, was anybody stunned by, oh, I want to buy up all the bad mortgages so there would be no foreclosures? As outrageous as that was, bad news for you, gang. That's already in the bailout bill. Believe it or not, Paulson can do that. He doesn't have to even ask you anymore. There is a global meltdown coming. It is a global depression. And one world currency and one world financial system is the end game. China said last week they want one global currency. France said yesterday or the day before that they want one world order, a new world order, at the end of this event. 2 nights ago, the government used $900 billion of your money to give loans to businesses and guarantee those loans. Did they even ask you? That's your money. Last night, for the first time, the interest rate was cut globally.
Its task will be to develop an overall strategy for America in this period when really a new world order can be created. It's a great opportunity. It isn't just a crisis.
This is Sky News with Paula Middlehurst.
Well, there have been extraordinary scenes in Berlin tonight as thousands of people gathered to hear Barack Obama deliver key foreign policy speech on his current European tour. The Democratic presidential hopeful laid out his vision for America's place in a new world order, saying he was speaking as a proud citizen of the United States and a fellow citizen of the world.
Yes, there have been differences between America and Europe. No doubt there will be differences in the future. But the burdens of global citizenship continue to bind us together.
Stabilize the population. When I was born, there were
so what's wrong with the population? I mean,
with too many people. That's why we have global warming. We have global warming because too many people are using too much stuff. But if there were less people, they'd be using less stuff. If we don't get global warming and the nuclear weapons straightened out, we don't have to worry about human rights. The humans will all be gone. You know.
Okay. Do you think we'll do it? I mean, are you optimistic in the end that that the world will come to its senses?
On behalf of my grandchildren and the children all over the world, I absolutely think we got to do it. But I have a way of explaining it very simply. I say the human situation I liken to a baseball game. It's in the 7th inning, and we're down by 1 run. So we're backs to the wall.
Right.
What we have to do, though, in the next 2 innings, the game's not over. It's still winnable. But what we've got to do is hold them right where they are with our best pitcher.
Right.
And we've got to get a couple runs on the board.
Get a man on base.
And then get him in.
Get him in.
And that ties it, and then another run to go ahead, and we win. That's where we are. We're in a tough situation, but we can play our way out of it if we do the right things. It's time for smart political leaders. No more dummies. We can't afford dumb leadership.
I actually think the world will be much better when there's only 10 or 20% of us left. Dr. Eric Pianka.
Prominent University of Texas biologist Dr. Eric Pianka, while receiving an award from the Texas Academy of Science, said that the worldwide AIDS pandemic was, quote, no good, it's too slow, and went on to laud the virtues of Ebola because it would kill 90% of the world population quickly. When his statements erupted into a national controversy, his graduate students defended him, stating that Pianka was too conservative and that all humans should be killed. But most frightening was the fact that in a crowd of over 1,000 prominent scientists, local newspapers reported that 95% of those in attendance gave Pianka sustained standing ovations every time he extolled the virtues of mass-culling microbes and man's destruction.
China was able to turn the corner and become the leading world superpower because they have a police state and they are able to force people to stop reproducing. Dr. Eric R. Pianka.
Now to a story that's certain to get you hot and bothered. The Texas Academy of Science recently gave its top honor to a University of Texas biologist who says the Earth would be better off if 90% of the human population was wiped out. Professor Eric Pianka says people have grown fat, apathetic, and miserable. He predicts a disease like the Ebola virus will give the human population a much-needed correction. Here to talk about his doomsday scenarios from Austin, Texas, Professor Eric Pianka. Professor, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
It sounds like you don't like people